Here we go. Is it working yet? Let's see. I'm waiting for it to work. I'm waiting. Hello? Hello? Does anybody see me? Let's see. Show chat. Oh. Now it's working. Now it's working. This is good. This is good. This is good. Can you guys hear me? 1, 2, 3. Radio check. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 12. Did you get all 7 numbers? What up? What up? Hello. Everybody says you can hear me. That's good. There's 11 of you watching. That's very nice of you all. 14 of you watching now. That's good. It's up and working. Ah. Good, Philip. Good, good, good. It's good to hear to see your name, Philip. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, Tony. This is Gatorade for anybody who's wondering. Hey, Tony. Tony, how are you liking those Sky Wings? You're flying the Sky Zorro. What size are you flying, Tony? What up, Todd? Hey, Brian. Hey, Kurt. Hey, John. All the names. Everybody. Michael, I saw your comment. John, hello. 2 Johns. I'm sure there's more Johns than just 2 Johns, but there's currently 2 Johns. Let's see. I need to adjust this a little bit. Hey, good news, everybody. I'm not sure if you watched a couple weeks ago, but it was vertical last time. It is now horizontal this time. I figured it out. First name, Ben. What up? Tony, how heavy are you? What's your all-up weight on that 24? Good. Hey, somebody hit me with a question before this even started. Jason, are you still here? Are you still listening? Jason, I'm not going to try and say your last name. I'm so sorry. You get an attaboy? Attaboy. Attaboy. Hey, today I finalized my plans and reserved a spot for Salton Sea. I don't know if you guys have done that yet. Have you guys reserved your Salton Sea spots? You reserved your spots. Jason, you're still here. Good. I'm going to answer your question, Jason, because I saw your question. But have you guys reserved your spot for Salton Sea yet? And I'm sorry I'm looking over here. The questions are over there, and my camera's over here. I got a new phone, too. I got a 14 Pro Max Plus 1273 edition. Freeride 2 is sweet, man. It's sweet. It depends on what you want to do and how many hours you have and all of those fun things. But I love my Freeride 2. And I'm looking forward to the Viper XC because I loved the original Viper 5. Like, I had a Viper 5. That's what I flew on the Adventure Wingman. Only thing is it danced a lot, which I knew going into it. And that Viper 5, the Viper XC probably won't dance nearly as much. Let's see. But, John, how many hours do you have? Give me a little bit more detail, John. How many hours do you have? What kind of flying do you do? What do you fly now? What size wing should fly? I weigh 160 pounds. Adam, 80, probably 50 pounds. Bill, how many hours do you have? Are you brand new? I can see your profile picture as you flying, so I can tell you've already flown. How many hours do you have, Bill? Can we come out and just watch you at Salton? Sure, please come watch us at Salton. I'll be there. I reserved a spot at the main, I actually reserved a camping spot at the main RV park. I forget what it's called. But I called today and it's reserved. I'm going to be there 300 hours. I'll answer that in a sec, Bill. I'm going to be at Salton Sea February 3rd to the 13th. So for 10 days, I'm going to be at Salton Sea. I'm going to be there before, and then I think after I'm going to go to Glamis, and then I'm going to go to the Flying Circus. I'm going to do all the things. All the flyings down south I'm going to do. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Bill, what do you currently fly? What size wing should you fly? And what do you currently fly, Bill, and what wing do you want to fly? Like, do you have one in mind? Because I can tell you what size Spider 3 or Sirocco 3 or Freeride 2 or any of those, but I need to know what size wing you are actually wanting to fly. How is the Freeride 2 better than the original Freeride? Here's the thing. I didn't spend but maybe 3 to 5 hours on an original Freeride, so I don't have a ton of experience on the original Freeride. Eric Farewell or Judson or Tucker would be better to ask. But from what I understand, the Freeride 2 turns harder and carries more energy. I didn't ever really fly a Freeride 1. Let's see. Probably 200 hours. John, let's see what we're asking. Freeride 2, how do you like it? At 200 hours, you totally could be flying a Freeride 2, John. Okay, so that's a good question. All of you guys wonder, like, hey, am I ready for this wing? Should I get this wing? What wing should I get? And there's like this rule of thumb, and that's like hours, you know? Like if you ask someone like, what wing should you get? You know, how many hours do you have? That's the first question we always ask. That's a loaded question. So how many hours you have is like, well, no 2 hours are the same, right? If, Joe Schmo has 50 hours, but all 50 hours are beach flying, slow and steady, no maneuvers, perfect times, and it's totally different than 50 hours where you're flying in the mountains and ripping it up and doing wing overs. So like the blatant statement of like 200 hours sets you up for a certain wing or 100 hours sets you up for a certain wing is like kind of true and kind of not true. I had a guy call me this week and ask like, hey, am I ready for a Sirocco 3? And normally you don't jump to a Sirocco 3 until you have 100 hours. He only had 70 hours. And I proceeded to ask him like more about what he did in those 70 hours and like, how are you performing? Like, what's your true performance in, with a paramotor? How well are you actually doing? Because you could totally be ready for a free ride in 100 hours, and you could totally not be ready for a Sirocco 3 in 200 hours. It just depends on what you're doing and how you fly and how often you fly and how current you are and all that stuff. Feel and control is far more important than hours. Absolutely. What's more important is what experience you have in those hours, because no 2 hours are the same. 100 hours of adventure wingman flying is worth way more than 100 hours of beach flying. That's just the reality here. And it's one thing I wanted to talk about in this video. And the reason is because like I have a buddy with around 50 hours who I've been trying to convince to fly a Freeride 2. I've been trying to convince him to let me send him a Freeride 2, and he won't quite let me send him one. And I have another, and he only has 50 hours. And I have another buddy with like 300 hours or 400 hours who I will not give a Freeride 2 to, because I just shouldn't have a Freeride 2. He just shouldn't have a Freeride 2. So it's also like about your judgment and how good of judgment you have and the type of pilot you are and how reckless and all of those things. So it's good that someone who really understands you or someone who can ask you a bunch of good questions and kind of get an understanding of how you are recommends things. Because you could be ready for like 2 steps above, hypothetically, depending on how you performed in those hours that you flew. Let's see. I got on a tangent there. Do you have any backcountry PG t-shirts? I do. They're sitting at a box at my dad's house. I need to go get them. Josh is landing at Salton Sea. Yep. Already reserved a spot. I'm lot number 34. Flying Circus is in Phoenix. It's actually just south of Phoenix. I can tell you guys exactly where it is because I looked it up earlier. The Flying Circus is approximately somewhere between somewhere and nowhere. I don't know. I'll link the website to the Flying Circus if you guys are curious. Let's see. Flying Circus in Phoenix. It's just outside of Phoenix. It's like an hour or so outside. Is Brad reserving spots for a South End dry camping PPG location for Salton Sea? That is a good question for Brad. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. What amount of flying flights or hours would you recommend someone take advanced skill building classes / PPG 3? People come to my advanced training with as little as 5 hours, because you will learn and you will benefit from it almost more so when you're new than when you're advanced. Because if you're at 70 hours, the amount of things that I can help you with are probably less, and the overall difference I'm going to make is probably less than if you're at 5 hours and you're still struggling with your launches and your landings and oscillation control and all of those other things. The help I'm going to be able to offer you when you're slightly newer is more so than when you're more advanced. Only because the more advanced things, it takes more time, practice, repetition, and all those things. And so I suggest it for pilots that are like 5-10 hours. Like if you're 10 hours in and you're struggling with your launches, or you're 10 hours in, you're struggling with your landings, or you just want to be better, like that's the time to take it. If you're thinking about taking advanced training or PPG PP3 training, or PPG3 is probably what it is, then do it. Do it. More training is better. Regardless of how many hours you're at, the more assistance and help and guidance you can have from people who are better than you, the better. Just bottom line, right? Wings are targeted for a specific purpose. XC Acro Beginner, it's better to have the right wing for your type of flying. Sure, yeah, absolutely. Every wing is a little bit different. I find that the Ozone Spider 3 and Sirocco 3 are good all-arounders. They're designed more to be the all-arounder wing. And then like the Freeride 2 is designed to be a little bit more of the all-arounder play wing, and the Viper XC is supposed to be a good all-arounder and cross-country wing. Whereas, oh yeah, sorry Jason. Whereas like Dudek makes hyper-focused, the Warp 2 is a cross-country bullet, the Snake 3 is an agile machine. Like those are the jobs. You're not going to use one for the other. Surprise Trevor said the Freeride 2 is so much better than the Viper 5. I don't know where I said it was better than the Viper 5. The Viper 5 is better than the Freeride 2 at certain things, and the Freeride 2 is better than the Viper 5 at certain things. Like, they're two different wings for two different missions. The Viper 5 is really focused on being more for cross-country, especially the Viper XC, which is the new Ozone wing. I don't know if you guys saw that. The Viper XC, or the Viper 5, is more supposed to be like the cross-country wing, and the Freeride 2 is more supposed to be like the freestyle play wing. They're not the same wing. They're not designed for the same purpose. Although both do both jobs, they're not designed for the same thing. So like if I was going to strictly do a cross country like I did the Adventure Wingman, I would not take a Freeride 2 on the Adventure Wingman, even though Jesse in our group flew a Freeride 1 the entire Adventure Wingman. 16, except like the last 3 days. But it's just, two different wings for two different missions is what they are. But the Viper XC looks great. I'm excited about the Viper XC. Everything that I loved about the Viper 5 without the dancing. Well, without the side-to-side dancing. Right, no oscillation or less oscillation. Okay, Jason, you asked a question at the very start of this, and I want to answer it. Your question was, on climb out, or on takeoff, the right side of the wing always feels like it's hanging back. What causes this and how do I correct it? Jason, what paramotor do you fly? And what engine is on your paramotor? Those are the first two questions I want answers to. Do you ever teach classes on a windy beach to perfect kiting like super training? Michael, not yet. I haven't yet taught a beach class. I plan to maybe next year offer, or I'm thinking of offering like a kiting only class where it's like, let's go to a beach and just do kiting. But for the most part, you can get a lot of hours here in Utah. You can get a lot of kiting hours here in Utah. So like if you want to learn to kite, you want to get better at kiting, come on out here. Let's see. The V5 was a weapon. I'm curious to see how the V5 XC compares. The V5 XC is going to be everything the Viper 5 is, with less agility and less oscillation. That's the difference. The Viper 5, unless they change the reflex profile like they did on the Freeride 2. And I could be wrong on this, but the Freeride 2 just doesn't, it feels like it has more reflex than the Viper 5 did. And the way that you can kind of tell what reflex feels like is it's like suspension in a car. I'm sure you guys have heard me explain that. But it's like as a bump hits, how much of that bump does it send to you? How much of that bump does it feel? Or how much of that bump does it like just soak up? And the Freeride 2 is just a lot more like solid than the Viper 5 was. Meaning it probably turned up the, they probably turned up the reflex. More reflex, less you'll feel it. And so unless they change the reflex on the Viper 5 XC, the Viper 5, the only difference between the Viper 5 and the Viper 5 XC is that the Viper 5 XC won't roll or be as agile because of the winglets. And the Viper 5 XC won't have the oscillation because of the winglets. So you get winglets, you give up some roll and agility, and I've heard some people, or I've talked to some people that flew it, and they said it's 80% as much, or they give up 20% of roll rate. Meaning you get 80% of it, but you'd have like no oscillation, which is super nice. Which is nice. Let's see. I met you at Corpus Christi 2020. You came and seen my unit that used to be one of Dell's after I rebuilt it and broke it and rebuilt all the stainless and a trike built onto it. John, when in 2020? Because I don't remember that. Sorry. I apologize for not remembering that. Thank you, Trevor, for answering my question. Floating around 70 hours, and we'll definitely look into advanced stuff. Yeah, 70 hours, dude, that's a perfect time for it. Because 70 hours, I'll tell you why it's a perfect time for it. At 70 hours, you're past all the boring beginner stuff, right? Like, you don't want to just do all the boring beginner stuff. But you haven't learned how to do the advanced stuff. And there's going to be this like learning phase where either someone shows you, teaches you, and helps you, or you make the mistakes for yourself, right? You go out and you learn for yourself and you screw up and you hit the ground or whatever, you make the mistakes. You're transitioning into the advanced phase, or you're transitioning into the more advanced pilot. That phase is the perfect phase for advanced training, because when you go to somebody like myself or others who can help you transition into that phase, the little things that we see you doing wrong, the little things that make a big difference, will tweak immediately. Like if you come to me and you're doing wingovers, you're not checking outside brake, like we're clearly gonna see that. Or your energy management is off, or you don't exit and burn off energy correctly, or you find yourself in rotor too regularly, or any of these things that like more advanced pilots are gonna find themselves in. We'll help tweak those out of you quickly, because we see it and we can tell you it, and then you won't make the same mistake, versus like you going down that path and figuring out for yourself. So like the 70 hour to 100 hour, well, 50 to 100 hours is like prime advanced training time, because you're ready for the next stuff. Like you're ready to go on. You're ready for more things. Any tips for connecting my tip steering? Because I want to try my speed bar. Well, try your speed bar without the tip steering. But tip steering is easy to tie in. How can I describe how to tie in tip steering? I could probably use this. This will work. Tying in tip steering is easy, okay? So you're going to have, like, here's your toggle, and here's your line, right? And it's wrapped around like this and tied. What you're going to do is you're going to make a mark at the tip steering toggle, like right at the tip steering toggle where the knot is, with a Sharpie, a black little dot. You'll then untie that from the tip steer toggle, remove the tip steer toggle, pull the line out, and tie it onto, at that same black dot, your primary brake. That way, it's the same length. You make the dot so that you know what length it is, and you know exactly where to retie it. And then it's pretty easy. You go kite it, make sure it's not twisted or tangled, and go fly. It really is pretty easy to tie and tip steer. What's more important when you go to fly and push speed bar is that your brakes are not too short, which, unless you like really shorten them from the factory, you shouldn't have a problem with that. Jason, flat top and Dominator 21. You will forever have that problem. Because what's happening is that your motor is like turning like this, it's twisting, and just use weight shift. Tom, are you asking for on speed bar? I'll get to that in a second. Jason, because you're on a flat top and a Dominator, what's happening is that the motor is twisting like this on climb out. Like if you look at the two sets of risers, your right riser is going to be really, really close to the cage. Your left riser is not going to be really close to the cage. That's a bit of P factor playing into effect. It's not gyroscopic precession, but it's a bit of P factor playing into effect in torque steer, because there's no compensation for torque steer and all of these things. There isn't a whole lot you can do for it. When that does happen, you know, the right side is going to hang back farther. It's not really hanging back farther, but it feels like it's hanging back farther. What you could do is move your right hook-in point forward. Like if you're in hook-in point 1-1 on your flat top, hook-in 1 on your left side and 2 on your right side, and then move your lumbars back or forward a little bit. And that can kind of help offset that twist effect just a little bit. But that's a very common thing on a flat top. You wouldn't have that experience if you were on something else. What do you wish you knew when you got started training? So that's a tough one for me to answer, because I learned when I was 13 years old. And when you're 13 years old, you don't know nothing from nothing. And so I don't really have a good answer for that. But one thing that I was really grateful for is that I always flew with my instructor, basically, right? I always flew with my uncle. And because I always had somebody to fly with who was better than me and could help me, he critiqued and tweaked and tipped and changed everything as I progressed, which was really nice. Which is part of the reason I created the advanced training, is like offer that. But also, you know, if you have a group of buddies who are better than you, it's good that you ask them for advice in the new phase, because your beginner training only gets you to a certain point. And that certain point is supposed to be just far enough that you can safely go out and start flying. But that's only like the beginning. Like you just got started. Like you're nowhere near all the other things. Like that just gets you to like level 1. Then you have all the rest of the stuff that you need to learn. And so having somebody there to help you, having guidance, paying for additional instruction is totally worth it, especially in the new phase. I'm big on paying for help. Like I'm big on paying for help because it fast tracks your learning curve. Like you pay for help in anything, paramotor or sales or marketing or whatever, you name anything that you do. You pay for help, you fast track the learning. Because yeah, you could go learn all these things by yourself, but you're going to make the mistakes. And so by paying for the help, you will accelerate your learning process, right? You will skip over most of those mistakes, and although you'll probably still make them, you'll know that you made them and you can make improvements and get better faster. So that's what I would suggest, is find someone who you can either cling on to and fly with a lot or pay for additional help. I'd still pay for help. I want you guys to know that I would pay so much money to really, really good paraglider pilots to take me thermaling with them, because yeah, I could go try and find it. I could go try and figure it out. I could go try and learn it myself, or I could pay them for like a week of their time and fast track me a year ahead. It's just worth it to pay for the extra help if you're serious and you have the disposable income. Just weight shift. So when you're on speed bar, there's a couple ways that you can turn. Whenever you first get on speed bar, it's best that you just put the brakes on the magnets and don't touch them, and just keep telling yourself, don't touch the brakes, don't touch the brakes, don't touch the brakes, if it's a reflex wing. And then you can actually steer by moving your feet with the speed bar. So if you want to go right, just like pull your right foot back and push your left foot a little farther forward. And that will actually slow down the right side of your wing and speed up the left side, which will turn you. So you can actually steer with your feet. You can also weight shift. You can also touch your tip steer. I don't ever use tip steer when I'm steering or flying on speed bar. I always use either my feet or weight shift, funny enough. Or I let off speed bar, make a turn, and then hit speed bar again. And you're right, you are not supposed to touch brakes when you're on speed bar. Going faster, accelerated, you don't want to slow the glider, so no brakes. I mean, you could technically slow an accelerated glider. It's just a reflex glider. You don't really want to decelerate. Like a traditional airfoil wing, if you're on full speed bar, you can touch brakes all day long. Like really proficient paraglider pilots use speed bar a lot and brake a lot, because you have to use brakes in thermals to prevent collapses because it's very active. So it's just reflex wings. Tom, what wing do you fly? That's a good question to ask. Let's see, there's a course going on, but not Dell, with another guy, and I don't remember who was doing it, and testing emergency chutes. So John, were you at the SIV? Because I remember there was an SIV. There was an SIV going on down with Kyle Matula on the beach. And I remember one person going in the water. I could have met you then. Oh, you know what, John? I do remember you now. I do remember your welded back together, falling apart flat top. That was good. I remember that. Let's see. You're going to link a link to buy your shirts? Not yet. I have to make sure they're good quality shirts, and I haven't touched them yet. Opposing ideas, go fast or go slow, but not both together. Question for Trevor. Sup, what up? Which is my first wing? I have a BDG wing. I haven't tested it yet. As in, test it, flown it? Do you think paramotors are a good gateway to getting into private pilots? No, I do not. Not related in any way, shape, or form. As in, like, you get into paramotors and you're not really going to learn it. You'll learn things that benefit you, but they're so very, very different. How many people want to fly airplanes after flying paramotors? Not many. Most airplane pilots like to switch to paramotors because of the freedom. Flying airplanes is very restricted and limited. Like, everything fun is illegal. And so you just like find yourself bored. So most of the airplane pilots like to switch to paramotoring because of the freedom. It's way easier. And you also don't have to go to an airport and a hangar and tie down and maintenance and regulars and annuals and all the things. You cannot use brakes on a Spider 3 if you push speed bar trimmed down. You cannot use brakes on a Spider 3 trimmed out full speed bar, but you can use brakes on a Spider 3 trimmed out no speed bar. Let's see. Sorry, a Spider 3 is my first wing. Spider 3s are awesome, dude. I love the Spider 3. I highly suggest that for most every new pilot getting into it. I fly PG, PPG, and I want to add a rotor wing. Nice. I thought it would be keen on getting into GA, but the opposite has happened. GA looks like an expensive pain. It is. It's an expensive pain in the butt, and it's a never-ending cycle of money going into a pit that you never see again. Also rocking a Spider 3. Very easy to launch, land, and I feel very safe. Yep. And rotor doesn't sneak up on you. You sneak up on rotor. John, thoughts on BDG wings? I think there's some good wings there. I don't fly them, but I think they're good wings. I'm a dealer. I will sell you a BDG wing if you'd like. One of the things I try and do is have all options, but I don't love, I don't not love BDG. I just really like the wings that I like. Renting is most cost-effective way into flying GA. Sure. Sure. General aviation is cool. I would like a bush plane. I would love a bush plane. Who wouldn't like a bush plane? But, like, then you gotta play by all the rules. Like, part of the reason that paramotors are so special and cool and fun is that we really get to do whatever we want to do within the rules that we have. But, like, I can go out on a Tuesday afternoon and fly around, and I don't have to radio or, make a flight plan or have an annual checkup or any of those things. Are you going to make a video with mustache, wing, and motor? So, Brian, I would love to. And I talked about this on the last live stream. I didn't film myself flying it. Like, I filmed some vertical stuff for Instagram, but I didn't film anything horizontal. And although I'd love to make a video talking about it, I'd like to have some footage of me flying it. And so if I can get access to going and flying it again, I will happily make a video. But I have thoughts on it, so I could make the video now. I don't have any footage, so I haven't convinced myself to make the video yet. Can water affect the performance or age of a wing? Yes, water can. Fly BDG for PG. Cure, it's a spicy wing. BDG makes great wings. Where are you based out of in Utah? Planning a big excursion next year? I am based out of Lehi, Utah, which if you know anything about Utah, that's roughly 30 minutes south. Speaking of fly-ins, any chance you'll attend some on the East Coast? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. I am a busy guy. Hey, what's the name of your RV park you're staying at Salton Sea? You want to get one close by? Let me see. I'll pull it up here in just a second. Let's see. Every form of flight has its own pros and cons. That's the reality of everything in this world. The RV park that I am staying in is... Let's see. Sorry, guys. That's where I'm staying at Salton Sea. Every form of flight has its own pros and cons. Yep. Good to see you, Trevor. Mark here. Cool car commercial. Looked like a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Tell Judson to come back to Utah so we can go do some more flying. I want to go film another video like that. I think it's so different from other wings. Brian, Oh, Moustache. That's right. Yeah, it's very, very different. Do you guys want me to talk about it? I talked about it last week, but I'll happily share my thoughts on it again. If you guys want me to talk about it, I will talk about it. The Moustache. Bush planes are rad. You're near Magna. Nice. That's not too far. I fly out at Great Salt Lake all the time. Let's see. Bush planes are rad. One of your private spots has a Bush pilot that buzzes around us. Oh, that's awesome. The Flying Cowboys. Do you guys know what the Flying Cowboys are? The cool bush plane backcountry group. A lot of them are based locally here in Utah, and I see them fly over us in the summertime when we're doing advanced trainings and stuff. I fly a 701 Zenith, and I don't use it much at all. Stick with the paraglider. Yeah. Thank you for your help, and thank you for always being so humble. Well, thank you, Andrew, and you're welcome. I hope I can help you more. Hi, dude. Just letting you know you have at least one viewer from France. Sweet. Sweet. What's up, France? I want to go to France. I want to go to UK. UK. I want to go explore all of those places. But I would love to do so. Not going to happen this year. Gotta go. Thanks for everything. You bet, Tom. You bet. You bet. Thoughts on Sirocco 3 for a second? Second wing. Have about 20 hours on my Spider 3. So we talked about this at the beginning of the live stream. I'll talk about it again. Give me 1 second. I missed a comment. Any guesses on a Spider 4, Sirocco 4 in the works? I have no idea. Have not heard a thing. Let's see. Thoughts on a Sirocco 3 for a second wing? For a second wing, yeah. But for 20 hours, no. Unless those, no, not at 20 hours. I would say wait till at least 50 hours, okay? Because there's a lot more value to experience than one might give credit. And so give yourself time to build some experience. But at the beginning of the live stream, we also talked about how no 2 hours are alike, right? Every hour that you spend flying is different from a different hour. More adventure wingman style hours, right? Adventure wingman style hours are more beneficial to you than something like cruising on the beach. And so I would have to pose you the question of, like, during those 20 hours of flying, like, what did you do? Like, what kind of flying do you do? Are you a fair weather, it's smooth on a beautiful morning? Are you a rough and rowdy? Are you a push the limits? Like, what kind of flying have you done? And then also you have to ask yourself, like, are you making mistakes? Because when you switch down when you switch to a more advanced wing, everything gets enhanced. So mistakes become a bigger deal. As you get into more advanced wings, mistakes become bigger deals. So if you're not making the same silly mistakes, you have oscillation under control, you don't blow launches and landings, you don't plow in sideways or any of those things, then maybe you are ready to progress. But if you still are making those mistakes from time to time, then no. Clean those up on the beginner wing. And also, the Spider 3 and, like, A-wings in general and stuff like that are far more capable than meets the eye. Like, why do you want to progress? Like, why do you want a Sirocco 3 instead of a Spider 3? What are you looking for? Because your Spider 3 and Sirocco 3 will do the same thing. You'll do the same thing. And the only difference is that on the Spider 3, you need better technique. See, a lot of people compensate for poor technique in maneuvers and energy and all of those things with more efficient wings and more powerful motors. The reality is, like, guys, you could do all the crazy things on A-wings and B-wings. So, like, if you get good at those on those wings, progressing up to a more advanced wing is just going to make it even more fun. It's just going to make it more fun. But if you think that your Spider 3 won't do what you want it to do, you're mistaken, because it will. Would you make a video on the dudek harness strap adjustments, specifically to shoulder straps? It's easy, but I could. I don't think enough people would benefit from it, but I could. Tighten down the shoulder strap, not the strap that raises it on your back until it's nice and snug. Then tighten down the one that raises it up on your back. Can you do a review on the Dominator and the Ozone Mojo? Which one's safer? Good question there. Good question. I will not do a review on the Dominator. I could do a review on the Ozone Mojo, but most people will probably never fly or buy a Mojo as their wing. It is a very, very, very safe wing. If you're looking for, like, the safest wing you can get, and you don't want a Spider 3, like, if you're getting into it and you don't want a Spider 3, you want the safest possible wing you can get, then get a SEMA Power, a Sky Paraglider SEMA Power. Let's see. That's why I bought the same wing for my second wing, practically. Yeah, like, the entry-level wings are capable of everything that you want it to do. You just have to learn how to do it. You just have to have good technique. Like, if you just jump to, like, a really advanced wing quickly, you're just going to have poor technique, because the more efficient wing is going to compensate for the poor technique. And if you just continue to do it wrong, for 10 years you could do it wrong, and all of a sudden someone points out you're doing it wrong. Like, I see a lot of people out there who have poor technique, but because they fly really advanced hot wings, they get away with it. And it shouldn't be that way. Get good on your beginner wing and then progress. Let's see. The top 80, look at that. Reserve or no reserve? Reserve all the way. It's cheap insurance. A reserve is cheap insurance. You're going to spend, what, $1,000 to buy a reserve, and if you ever need it, it's the best $1,000 you ever spent. Fell out of the sky 200 feet and broke my hip, so be careful when progressing. See, okay, that's why I suggest you get help in your progression phase, because after you've passed the beginner phase, it's probably best that you have somebody help you transition to the more advanced phase, because mistakes can be a big deal, and they can be little tiny things that you didn't even think of that bite you in the butt. I'd really like to do my first barrel roll. I've been doing wing overs, but just not sure how to make the next step into a barrel roll. So here's the thing with a barrel roll. They're actually really easy. Wing overs, properly timed wing overs with correct energy is way harder. So like everybody wants to do the barrel roll. The barrel roll is not impressive to those that know what they're looking at. Like you go out and you do a barrel roll, it's like It does not tickle the advanced pilot, really. Like guys who really know what they're doing, they don't look at a barrel roll and be like, wow, that was so cool. But if you can do really, really good wing overs, that gets attention. Because a properly timed wing over where you truly go all the way over the wing is far more difficult in terms of timing and energy management than a barrel roll is. So let me explain what a barrel roll is, okay? It is simply a 360 spiral inverted. So to learn a barrel roll, right, you do a wing over, you dive down, and then you just enter into a 360. And that's it. The only difference is instead of 360ing facing down, you 360 facing, up. And so how do you do a barrel roll? Well, you build up a lot of energy, and then as you dive down and enter the bottom, you pop in and you carry it all the way around. So start slow to where you are spinning basically facing straight down, as in enter before you reach the bottom or past the gate, and then slowly inch your way farther and farther and farther and farther, because an ideal barrel roll, you enter just past bottom where you're starting to face up, and you barrel roll. And that's when you go completely over top. And Skylar's right, most wing overs are not over the wing. Like most people, like truly, how many people can do really good wing overs? It's not a large number, at least when you go to a fly-in. And so if you can do really good wing overs, it's so much more impressive and it's so much cooler than you can do a barrel roll. Like a barrel roll is just a 360, dude. You're just entering late. That's it. But you got to have enough energy for it. I've seen barrel rolls go wrong and you lose half the wing, collapse half the wing, and it can get nasty. But if you want help doing a barrel roll, I'll happily help do a barrel roll. It's really not hard. Just enter into a 360 and start learning the 360, and then enter a little later and a little later and a little later. But you have to have outside pressure. People ask like, hey, I want to do a barrel roll. There's two things. As long as you understand how to prevent collapses, right? Keep outside brake. And number two, use the energy, then you're good. Use and burn off energy. If you have energy management, then you can progress into a barrel roll. But they're really easy. Have you ever flown a paramotor? Yeah. Barrel roll is full commit maneuver. I mean, not really. Like you could stop a barrel roll at the top. A barrel roll is not a full commitment maneuver. It's really, like you can even dump power. The way to make a wing over even better, here's how I suggest it, okay? If you want to progress and get good at wing overs and do barrel rolls, here's what I'll tell you. Number one, you're not going to do a really over top wing over or loop, really over top wing over or barrel roll without throttle. Like you're not going to get really high up without the throttle in a paramotor. In a pod harness, totally different story. If you ever have the chance to like fly a pod harness and you do wing overs, it like scares the crap out of you because you exit and you go so much higher because you're so much more efficient. Or not efficient. You're so much more aerodynamic. So if you really want to have good wing overs and good barrel rolls, you have to use power. But here's the thing. You want to first get really good at doing wing overs without power. Once you have some timing and you can learn the energy and you've built and burned the energy, then add a little bit of power and get good at that, and then add a little bit more power. And then once you can hold full throttle through your whole wing over set, your whole barrel roll and everything, then you can start to enter later and later and later. And that's when you can get really over the top wing overs, and that's when you can get really nice barrel rolls. But it also can be how high you can or how late you can enter is also a question of your power to weight. because if you're like Judson, who weighs 135 pounds, you can pretty much power loop, which is where you don't turn. But if you're me, 190 pounds or 180 pounds, you can't quite get there. Even on the same wing loading, I can't quite get there. But learning to use your motor and the throttle and the power in wingovers is going to change your wingover game. It's going to make it better. However, you can't suck when you do that, because if you go into a wingover and you don't enter and you're holding full throttle and you're right here and you don't turn and burn, it can get really bad. So you want to progress into that one slowly, because you want to make sure that you have the timing and that you don't enter too late or don't burn it off way too high when you're new. Wingovers are far trickier than you think. Like, doing bad wingovers is really easy. Doing really good wingovers is really hard. Like, there's you talk to any of the really, really good acro guys, and the first thing they want to see is like your wingovers. Like, how well can you do wingovers? Like, if you have really good wingovers, then they know you're good. But if you don't have good wingovers, then it's a different story. How did I end up on a wingover tangent? Why are PPG wings less efficient than a typical PG wing? They are not. So here's the thing, and I'm not saying this is 100% a fact with every single wing, but PPG efficiency and PG efficiency are two different things. Because in paramotors, efficiency is all about your cruising RPMs. It's all about how far can you go on how much gas you burn in the process, right? Paragliding, PG, it's about lift, it's about glide ratio, it's about all of those things. It's two different things. So you can have a wing that sucks at paragliding that has like a 5,300 RPM cruise, and it's a super and phenomenal efficient paramotor wing, and it sucks paragliding. And you can have a really great paraglider wing that sucks for paramotor cross efficiency. They're different. That's why. Like, they're two different wings for two different jobs. Your paragliding wing is to get maximum lift and climb out of thermals and ridge lift and stuff like that and have the best glide. Your paramotor wing is to get the lowest cruising RPM so you can go the farthest on the least amount of gas. Do you think we should tackle real wingovers during an SIV? Sure. Wingovers, well, in an SIV, you're not going to have a motor. So, like, paragliding wingovers and paramotor wingovers are a little different, because paramotor wingovers, you can enter way later. You can get way higher because you have the additional thrust, which builds additional energy. And so, yeah, I love doing wingovers without a motor, and I love doing wingovers with a motor. Do you do any training in the UK or any contacts, good instructors? I do. Tony, if you're watching this, his name's Tony Beddoes. Fly PPG, I don't know what his name is. But I do have a recommendation for UK people. If he is in the live stream, he should comment, and I'll hook you two up. Can't wait to get out there again. This year is out, but next year I'm coming to see you. Sweet. Without tip steering too. Look, if you can get really good, that's back to the wingovers. If you can get really good at wingovers on an A wing, trust me, your wingover game is going to be great. Because as soon as I switched from an A wing, well, technically not an A wing, but a Dominator to a more efficient wing, the wingovers went from like barely past the gate to like almost power looping. Because I know how to use the efficiency, and I know how to time it, and I know how to burn the energy properly and use the energy properly. Do I like Salton Sea? Yes, I do. Hunter, more aggressive aspect ratios. Do you mean higher aspect ratios? Technically, a higher aspect ratio wing rolls less. And aspect ratio can contribute to efficiency, but it's not necessarily efficiency that matters with wingovers, it's energy. It's how well does it carry the energy. And although energy and efficiency are closely related, they can be different. Because the Warp 1 that I had, I still have it, I think has better glide, which is part of efficiency, and a lower cruising RPM than my Freeride 2. But it doesn't go near, it doesn't carry energy as well as the Freeride 2 does. The Freeride 2 will carry and let me use that energy in wingovers and loops way better than the Warp will. But the Warp has, you know, a better glide than the the Freeride 2 does. So does that make sense? Like, the efficiency is less so of a big deal when it comes to wingovers and stuff. The energy and how it carries and builds energy is what matters more. Let's see. Well, I got to get my motor in order. Michael is headed down right now. What happened to your motor? What happened to your motor, Hunter? I want to help you. Let's see. Wingovers are all about timing. Yes, do them in an SIV. Yeah, SIVs are great. If you have access to somebody who can help you improve your wingovers, like an SIV, absolutely go. They will help you. And wingovers are all about timing. It is about timing. It's about building energy, and it's about using energy. That's what a wingover is. How do you build it, and when should you use it? That's what matters. And very, very few people have really well-timed wingovers. Like, very few. I was at the Southern Utah Paramotor Fly-In last month, and I'll be honest with you, very, very few people have truly well-timed wingovers. It's really hard. A really good wingover is really hard. Let's see. What music do you listen to while flying? I listen to a variety of things, my friend. But most of the time, I don't actually listen to music. Coming to Vegas next year, you anywhere near? I don't think I'll be in Vegas anytime soon. Are you drinking Red Bull in the water bottle? No, it is actually Gatorade. 210 pounds, always worried if I do spirals. Why are you worried, Josh? See, here's why I could see you being worried, Josh. I'm just going to be real with you. You're probably flying highly overloaded on your wing, because I think I know what wing you have. Wings are load tested to a certain point, and the reason that there are weight certifications is because as long as you're in that certification, you never have to worry about over pulling on G's. So what you should do, Josh, is you should go pull up the DHV testing on that wing that you have, although I don't think there was any DHV testing. DHV testing is load testing, and it will tell you how many G's you can pull at what weight. Don't be worried about falling out of trim. Don't be worried about falling out of trim. So one of the main reasons that weight ranges exist is because a wing is load tested at a certain weight to a certain number of G's, right? At 90 kg or 100 kg, and it doesn't just self-destruct until you pull 10 G's. Okay, so as long as you're not, within those guidelines, then you're just fine. Most every single wing that's made today, actually, I'm sure I'd go as far as saying every wing that's made today can handle pretty much any amount of G-forces without blowing up. Trim slipping and breaking is a thing. Every wing has that risk. That's why I like flying wings, that you can use brakes in the trim range. That's why I like the Freeride 2. But I wouldn't worry about it on the wing that you're flying. Let's see. Nothing really. My dad messed with the high jet and it was running a bit lean, so I've been tuning it back to perfection. Oh, good. I'm sure he messed with it. He's bored. What happened between you and Super D? I'm not talking terms. You both had a good friendship. He is my uncle, and he does not like that I don't work for him anymore. What do you mean by better? It carries energy longer? No, it doesn't lose as much. Here's what I mean. When you go into a wingover, it carries the energy that builds in that wingover all the way through, and you can use it later. And that's a good way of describing it. Like a warp, when you go and dive, you flick over and you dive down. The warp does not build nearly as much energy in this process, and so you can't use it in this process. But like a Freeride 2 just builds and carries all of this energy so much better, so that when you are going and entering, you can enter later because there's more energy when you get up here, if that makes sense. See you later, Skylar. I own 4 wings now, so I want to make sure they are not going bad sitting in bags. They are not going bad sitting in bags. What are your thoughts on those engines? Don't really care for them. I don't have any problems. I don't really have any experience, but I'm a Vitorazzi fan. I have a brand new and had a line snap on a barrel roll. Cosmos Power, a D line. What do you make of that? That means you probably were overloaded on the wing, or, well, what it means is you reach past the loading point that it can handle. I don't really know anything about that wing, but it could mean that you're outside of the weight range. You might be flying a little heavy on it, or it just wasn't load tested, or it's just a terrible wing. I don't really know anything about that wing. Let's see. What does it feel like to do a wing over with good timing and energy management? What do you see when watching a wing over with good timing and bad timing? When I watch a wing over with bad timing, I cringe and I get upset because it's really sad and hard to watch. I just have to look away because it makes me sad. I hate watching bad timed wing overs, especially people that. The tough part is like watching people that think they're really good do bad wing overs, and then it's like, well, you know, that one's hard to watch. Although it you know, whatever. What is good? What does it feel like to do a wing over with good timing and energy management? I mean, dude, it feels like magic. Like you go way up and over, and for a second at the top, life slows down, everything slows down, and you just have a good time, and then you dive into the next one. It's, you know, when you do a good wing over. A good wing over, you actually go light. You don't go light, but you get lighter. So like there's times where you build a lot of energy and then it gets lighter. And then you build a lot of energy and it gets lighter. And the way like Judson refers to it is letting your wing breathe. Like your wing takes a breath, right? It releases the air and then big deep breath and then it builds more air. If you never let your wing breathe, like you're always increasing loading or entering before you ever burned off the energy. And it's just like a huge G-force that you're just pulling for 10 minutes. Should your swing arms be a worry when pulling high Gs, or is the harness itself that's taking the load? Friend keeps bending his after acro sats. What paramotor? Your harness has a backup strap, but the paramotor or the swing arm is usually taking most of the load. We'll get over it someday. Andrew, I don't think he'll ever get over it. I'm at the top of the weight range, but not over. Tim, I'm not really sure. I don't have any idea what that wing is. What weight range would be best suit for 14? Well, the suggested one. I don't know what you mean by that. Like what weight? Like, dude, if for you to fly a freeride 214, you got to be a small person. You got to be a small human. Like a freeride 2, dude, a 14, the weight range on that is tiny. I think it goes to 120 kg. It goes to 110 kg, dude. That's nothing with your motor included. That's 242 pounds. I mean, for you to be, you have to be like sub 150 pounds for a freeride 2 to work. Air conception. Well, there's your problem. Some paramotors are made to handle G-forces better than other paramotors. That particular paramotor is not made to pull high G-force maneuvers over and over and over and over again. It is made to be a lightweight paramotor. That's it. It is made to be a lightweight paramotor that's comfortable. It is not made to be the yank, bank, spank one. If he goes to the temple enough times, he'll get over it. No, sir. Andrew, he will never get over that. Hate to tell you. That is done and ruined forever. Unfortunately. You guys, okay, I got a question for you. How many of you bought new paramotor things for Christmas? Did you guys buy yourself a new wing or a new motor? Because I bought myself a new motor for Christmas. Not really for Christmas. It just happened to be Christmas time. But I did buy myself a new wing, or a new motor, excuse me. And my freeride 2 came recently, so you could say that was Christmas. But I did buy a new motor. You guys want to know what it is? Someone got the joke. Who's a better pilot, Trevor Tucker or Justin? Who's Justin? New wing, new carb. Oof. New carb. Merry Christmas to you. Scout. Nice. Congrats on your Scout. I'm jealous. Scout's next for me. One of my goals is to have all the paramotors. Like here at, I want Backcountry PPG to have all the paramotors so that when you come to us, you can try all the things. And so I acquired a new paramotor to add to my lineup. You should do these where you go back and forth with someone around your skill level like Judson. Ask yourself questions more like Pro Talk. I would enjoy that. I still might buy a frame. New Sirocco 3. I'm going to get a motor. Bought a new wing and a 3-blade. Just happened to be Christmas. Exactly. Looking for lines for practice wing. Ozone Enzo 2? Why are you practicing with an Enzo 2? What the heck is an Ozone Enzo 2? Philip, what did you buy? What did you buy? I'm pretty sure an Enzo 2 is like a high aspect ratio. Yeah, this thing has a high aspect ratio. Hot paragliding wing. 5.5. Okay, that's not that high. But still, why an Enzo 2? Even the gravity paramotor? Maybe not. Maybe not. There's a handful of frames that I want. And I'm working on it. You got a new wing, Spider 3. Congratulations. Comp PG wing. Yeah, the Enzo 2 is an interesting one. Looking for lines for my practice wing. Well, okay, Philip, if it's just a practice wing, you can get lines at there's like a company that just makes lines. Paragliding lines. Let's see if I can find it for you. I will probably remember what it's called pretty soon. Oh, you know what? Philip, reach out to Cloud9 Paragliding here in Utah. They will totally help you get a line for that. That's a paragliding wing. They do paragliding wings for Ozone. They're probably going to ask you why you have an Enzo 2, but you should reach out to them. Let's see. Good evening from Sweden. Ever tried kite surfing? I have not yet. Thoughts on Parajet Maverick or Mav Max? If you're looking at a Parajet Maverick, go for the Mav Max. I love the Parajet Maverick. I have a Parajet Maverick. I'm a big fan of the Parajet Maverick. But being able to spin a 140 prop on a Parajet Maverick, I mean, come on, dude. Once you go 140, it's hard to go back. So I think once I sell my Maverick, I have Parajet Maverick for sale used, if anybody is interested. Once I sell that, I'm going to replace it with a Mav Max. I have a BDG Luna 2 wing that I will try next summer, hoping it will be good. Have to heal up first. The Luna 2 is great. What wing are you coming off of? The Luna 2 falls somewhere between a Spider 3 and a Sirocco 3. What motor did you buy? I bought... Sorry, I took a second there right after that. I bought a Iris paramotor. An Iris paramotor. I'm a dealer for Iris paramotors. They're on my website if you're curious. And I had been wanting one for a little while. Again, I realized that one of my goals and missions when I started this company was to have all of the paramotors, because I didn't want to just be solely tied into one thing. So I wanted to have all the things. And so someone happened to buy one of my Limitless this week, and it just happened to be time for me to pull the trigger in Iris. So I did. I fly a true north paramotor. Why is paragliding and paramotoring addicting? I don't know, man. I don't know. I like it. It's really addicting. I find it to be more addicting than most anything else I've done. Because I got really into motorcycles, like really into motorcycles. And motorcycles are pretty addicting, right? For guys that are into high-speed stuff. And anyways, I got bored of paramotoring pretty quick. Or not paramotoring. I got super into motorcycles, and I lasted like 1.5 summers before I kind of got bored. And that was kind of it for me. And paramotoring, I have been going pretty hard for 10 years, and I have not gotten bored yet. I still have not gotten bored. Like, genuinely speaking, I have not gotten bored of paramotoring, which is quite awesome. But your last video, great video, you said you sold your motorcycle. I did. I sold my motorcycle in June. Never heard of Iris. What color did you get? I got a blue one. Iris Paramotor is a small company out of Washington. A guy named Dimitri makes them. They are freaking sweet paramotors. Highly suggest you guys take a look. I will be making some content around them here soon. Here's a link to the Iris Paramotor. It's not a very good picture that I have on there, but I got my Iris Paramotor in blue and black to match my Freeride 2. And I got it just a regular Moster. I fly a Fresh Breeze, nice. What gloves do you find to be best for cold weather? I personally just use gloves that I found at Costco for 90 bucks. It's because it's super inclusive, conditions always changing, sun always setting. Here's why I think paramotors are so addicting. It's because there's always something you can work on, get better at, progress, and do. Like, there's always something new. We get bored of the same thing. If you do the same thing 100 times, you get bored of it. But, if there's always something new, there's always something for you to work on, if there's always something for you to get better at, if there's always, like, the next thing, then you never really get bored of it. And so one thing I do with paramotoring is I intentionally hold myself back from doing certain flights or flying certain places or whatever, so that I have something to look forward to. Like, every year I try to only fly my favorite few mountains a couple times because I don't want to get bored of flying them. I want it to still be a special, fun thing that I look forward to. Even though every day I wake up and I look at Mount Timpanogos and I go, I want to fly up there today. I only let myself do it a couple times. I just bought from Cloud9, great company. I really don't need them because it's Strider 3, but I thought someone would change it from 5 to 6. Nice. Can't wait for the Iris, man. You've been talking about getting one for so long. Well, it just happened to be, it was cash flow and timing. That was the thing. Like, if we're completely honest, it was just about cash flow and timing. Because I wanted one back in, like, August when you came and saw me, Hunter. But it wasn't the right timing. It wasn't the right time for it. Yeah, the Iris brand is great. I can't wait to show off some of the cool things about the Iris. Is the Freeride 2... everyday wing or just a hot rip around wing? It is an everyday wing, in my opinion, for my skill set, for my experience level, and for the kind of flying that I normally do. It is an everyday wing. Now, I wouldn't really want to use it if I was doing heavy cross country or flying like to 10,000 or to the 11,000 foot peaks. Like, I would probably prefer to have an 18 Viper 5 or Viper XC, but it's what I got. I have that and a Warp 1. Those are my two wings right now. Which, if anybody is interested in purchasing an 18-meter Warp 1, I would happily sell it to you for a good price. It is a great wing. I do love my Dudex, man. Although I'm a big Ozone fanboy, I do like Dudex. I want a Warp 2. I want a Warp 2. What size do you fly, and what is your body weight? Are you talking to me? Kevin, are you talking to me? I'm not sure who you're talking to there. Trevor, did you buy a Scout? Not yet. The Scout will be the next paramotor that I buy. So right now I have 3 paramotors. As I reach summertime, I'm hoping to add a 4th paramotor to the equation. And I slowly want to get up to 5 paramotors. And I think the next one that I will acquire is a Scout. A Scout. What is your climb rate on your Freeride 2? It's actually pretty good. It's probably 200 feet per minute or more. It's pretty good. I heard the Warp is crazy, fun, and efficient to paraglide. The Warp is pretty efficient. It does not like to kite. The Warp does not like to kite at all. There's a video on my Instagram of me kiting it. It does not enjoy kiting. It is not made for that. It is made to fly. It is a great flying wing. The thing that I have learned with Dudex, and I have not a ton of experience with Dudex, but maybe 30, 50 hours, is they love being in the air, but they hate being on the ground. Like the launching is not super fun. The landing is not super. It's not sucky, but it's not like the greatest landing or launching wings ever. And kiting, they're not the most fun or the greatest wings to kite, but they fly nice. Ozones, the reason I love Ozones, dude, they're so easy to launch. They're so easy to land. They make just the nicest launches and landings, and they are also super fun to fly. What do I think of the Mantis paramotor? Can a warp space time with and fly through wormhole? I don't know, Andrew. What method do you prefer for logging flights? I just use FlySky HY. I'm thinking about a Dudex Solo 21. Dudex are nice. I also like the Spider 3. I think for most pilots, a Spider 3 and then a Sirocco 3 is a really good setup. I think for most pilots, the Spider and Sirocco 3 are probably the way to go. Dude, I love these Q&As. Nobody else is doing these. I'm talking about wingovers and wings and PPG. Let's keep this up. I am enjoying it, and it seems that you guys are enjoying it too, because I like to talk and I love answering questions. If I were to get into spirals, what's the best way to exit it? Slowly ease up. Unless you're locked into it, and then pull outside brake. And if it doesn't exit, even if you pull a bunch of outside brake, then stall it, which is an unrealistic thing that's never going to happen. But yeah, just slowly ease up on the brake that you're pulling to go into it, and then or pull outside brake. Someone asked a little while ago, and I kind of spaced it, and that was about straight down spirals or something like that. Spirals are dangerous. You should never do more than one spiral, one really intense spiral, because you will pass out quick because they can pull a lot of freaking G's. I actually had a really bad situation. You guys want to hear this scary story that I have from back in May? This one was spooked me. A lot of things happened on this flight. Let's see. What microphone do you use on your helmet? Brian said yes to the story. I will tell you guys the story in just 1 second. My helmet. I actually have my helmet. You guys want to see my helmet? Okay, let me tell you the story, and then I'll show you my helmet. And then I'll get to your question, Guardian. So I'm flying the Warp. It's back in May. So this is prior to me having a ton of experience on other wings, right? I'm flying my Warp 1, and like we hit some like really, really nasty bumps. And the thing is I've never loved the way the Dudex felt in bumps. So like Ozones to me feel a lot more like a traditional airfoil and like a normal paraglider. So you can control it and keep it under and active pilot it, and it talks to you and all those things. And I just feel super solid on Ozones. And not that I don't feel solid on Dudex, but definitely not at this time. I didn't. Anyways, so I'm out there flying. We're flying over Utah Lake, and it just gets like really, really bumpy. And I'm like brand new to this whole reflex thing. And like if you think about for the last 10 years, I believed reflexes were going to kill you. It was like, oh no, you know what I mean? I was like, this is the moment. And so I straight down spiral to get from, I don't know, maybe 1,800 feet to like 300 feet. And I pull like 2 or 3 rotations. I hit like 155 miles an hour. And by the end of those 3 rotations, I couldn't see anything. Like my eyes are completely closed in. And it just happened so freaking fast. It happened so freaking fast. I wanted to drop altitude quick, and I wanted to keep the wing loaded so that I didn't take a collapse. So I just did the straight down spiral, and it got really, really, the vision like completely closed in, which was not what I wanted to have happen. It was bad. It's just like, what? And it happened really, really fast. And after that, I had a smart, more experienced pilot tell me that you should never do more than 1 straight down spiral, because very quickly can you pass out and just end up straight down spiraling right into the ground. And after that, those 3 spirals, right, I exited, the motor had died. And I was so not in a spot to land. So now I did 3 straight down spirals. I'm at like 200 feet, motor dies. I can't see anything. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to land. And I had to land downwind, barely made it to the road. And it was just a nasty situation. But I learned a very valuable lesson. And that is that if you're going to do spirals, only do 1. Only do 1. Anyways, let's see. Okay, real quick. Guardian, I skipped your question, Guardian. I've got 130 hours on a Magic. About 30 on a Report Air, looking to upgrade from the Magic for no-win launches. Suggestion on easy launching B, Drift Air, Hadron. If you want an easy launching wing, go with Ozone. Guardian, I would highly, highly suggest that if you're looking for an easy launching wing, that you go with a Sirocco 3 or a Spider 3. The Spider 3 is a B. It's a little bit more of a tame wing. I would say that you're probably ready for a Sirocco 3. The Sirocco 3 is going to be the easiest launching wing that you will ever fly. Like, they are so freaking easy to fly. Reach out to me, Guardian. I want to talk to you about the Sirocco 3 and see if it's a good fit for you. The Drift Air is more of an all-rounder. The Hadron is more of a cross-country wing. Drift Air is great. I think based on what you told me, it's not quite the right fit for you, and the Hadron is definitely not the right fit for you. The Sirocco 3 is probably a little bit of a better match. Especially at 130 hours, I would suggest a Sirocco 3. And I wouldn't suggest the Luna 2, like Hunter said. Although it's a good wing, you're kind of past that. I think if you got a Spider 3 or a Luna 2, you would almost be bored. Like, it just wouldn't be enough for you. You know, like, you'd get on it and it'd be like, I think the Sirocco 3 would actually be a better fit for you than those. Let's see. Do you mean Mantis F1 from Air Force Paramotors? Yup. Did that on purpose when I was new. Drift Air is not a B. It's freestyle. It's also a pretty hot freestyle wing. I thought about buying a G-suit. No, Andrew, never find yourself in a situation where you need a G-suit. I am really interested in that paramotor Mantis F1 by Air Force Paramotors. I have heard a lot about the F1 Mantis looking strong. It's a very sturdy paramotor. I am not the biggest fan of them. I would never buy a paramotor with a Minari engine, ever. I would never spend my money on a Minari engine. I would only get a Vittorazzi engine. I'm not sure if the Mantis comes with a Vittorazzi engine. I'm sure it does, but I would never own a Minari ever again. And also, I just don't think, I haven't really loved the Air Force paramotor, the Mantis F1. Even though I've spoken with the guy who makes them on the phone, and he wants me to be a dealer, stuff like that, and I'm more than happy to. I just don't think it's just not the right fit for me. It's not a paramotor for me. Josh, Minari is so bad. I agree. My Lena 2 is spicier than my Speedster 3. Luna, not Lena. Interesting feedback. The Speedster 3 is the Sirocco 3 comparable but heavier material. Microphone. What microphone? Like for talking? Oh, helmet. Duh. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. I'll talk about my helmet. Since everybody always asks, like, what about helmets. So let's break down this bad boy here. I got a lot of things going on. So this helmet is an Envolo. Actually, it's an Icon Solar X helmet from Aerolite.com. Aerolite.com. Let me see. Is it Aerolite.com? No, it's not. Let me find the link real quick. Paramotor Aerolite. Here we go. So if you go to Aerolite and you go to their helmet section, it is. This is an Icaro Solar X, or Icaro 2000 Solar X. That's what this helmet is. I'll post the link for that. This helmet shell, when you buy it, you can buy it with a GoPro cord, which I did, and that's this cord here. And that cord comes up, gets taped, and attaches to this, which this is the thing that you buy from GoPro that's like ridiculously expensive, that converts both the headphone jack and charging port to something you can plug into your GoPro. All right, so here's the cord that connects to the microphone that gets my audio. All right, that connects. I got that from Aerolite. It's an attachment or an add-on. And then that connects to this, and that connects to the GoPro. And then I added an external battery right here that I don't even use because the GoPro 9, 10, and 11s have really good battery life. And this attaches to that. It attaches the GoPro to keep it charged. I have a tiny little, what is that called? What is that called? I can't think of it right now. Strobe. I have a tiny little strobe, and then I have my Sena right here. And I think that's the Sena 50R. I could be mistaken on that. This thing right here, horrible placement. Horrible placement. I do not like where this is placed. This is a 50S. Because if you lean your head back or whatever, you turn wrong, this catches on like netting and stuff and is just kind of a pain in the butt. But that's currently the setup. Oh, one more thing. Look at this. Do you guys see, do you see that? You see here's the original earmuffs. I added a secondary layer of earmuffs because when I added the Sena, you can see there's like a speaker right here. This speaker started like pressing on my ears, and I wasn't, the original headphone things weren't sealing on my ears. And so I ordered off Amazon like extra gel earmuff thing. And the Adventure Wingman was like 2 days away, and I just had to get something figured out. And so I Gorilla Glued them together, and it actually works really, really nice. Because now I just have these really nice thick earmuffs that block all the noise, and the Sena audio is easy to hear, and it also keeps me warmer and all the things. And so that's kind of my helmet. But it's a heavy, bulky, big thing. And here's the Sena microphone. But honestly, don't film your flying. It's so not worth the effort. There's my helmet for you guys. I gotta bail. Kiddo hit me in the face with a toy. And now I need a stitch. Merry Christmas, Kevin. That sucks. Strobe, good question on the mic. I have a Sena and the mic sucks. Okay, so I don't use the Sena microphone. The Icaro 200 helmet comes with I believe it comes with a GoPro audio connection. So let me link this here. This helmet that I got comes with a GoPro audio connection, which is that cord that attaches to the main microphone. And it has pretty good audio. I have found it to be like hit or miss sometimes. If I like bump it wrong, it doesn't film. So like, also, I'll answer this question. A lot of people are wondering, why don't I have a part 2 to my Adventure Wingman series, right? Probably have been following along with Judson. I never made a part 2 because like the audio doesn't work on like half of the clips. And also I accidentally ruined half of the clips and they got deleted because the file corrupted. That kind of sucked, so I only have some of the footage. But the audio doesn't work on most of it, which is why I had to do the sit-down talk about the first section, and then I'd have to do that about the second, and then it's just been so long. I don't know. But that's the situation with that. If I don't plan on making a video, I don't film the freaking flight. Because it's just so many things to just have to deal with, which is a pain in the butt. And everything you add takes away from the fun of flying. The cool thing with flying is you just go out and go flying. Hi from Russia. I got a noise-canceling Bose earbuds, and they are awesome. I cannot keep earbuds in my ears. Oh, we are past 1 hour. Okay, guys, what are your final questions? I am so excited for my Iris paramotor, by the way. If any of you know Dimitri, tell him to hurry up and make my paramotor. He told me around Christmas time, which isn't bad. That's like 15 days. I can wait that. And I'm not even going to fly. It's like 19 degrees outside. Do you guys... It's cold. It's cold. And my heated gloves work up until like 25, maybe. 25 degrees. But I'm going to wrap this up here in the next couple of minutes. So what are your final questions? Final questions. Let's hear it. Let's talk paramotor drama. I'm just kidding. But let's hear your final questions, guys. Any video ideas that you guys want me to make? I've been pumping out videos. Working hard, getting you content. Hopefully it's helping. And it's time for me to make some more content. Did you guys like the end of your recap, the 2022 recap? I thought that was a cool video. You don't get me like all evening like last time? Listen, I told the girlfriend I'd only do 1 hour. It's been 1 hour and 17 minutes. If you have more questions, I'll keep talking. But there aren't any questions right now. Road trip in UK. I would enjoy that. I actually want to go to Slovakia and go see the Scout Factory. Admittedly, one of my biggest fears of flying is a leg strap coming undone on takeoff. Have you ever had a clip come undone in all of your years of flying? So I had a guy in November last month who both leg straps came off. And he immediately landed because it was right on takeoff. And what happens is you hang by your arms, which is not very fun. Like you hang right here and here because your arms hit the swing arms. And I don't suggest it, but you will not fall out of the paramotor, trust me. Good live show. Thanks, Trevor. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. So Jersey, Mike, I don't really worry about it. But it is the one thing that I always double, triple check. It's the one thing I always double, triple, quadruple check. PG trips in the future. All to the best of the good work. Have a good Christmas. Thank you. PG trips in the future. So I live 15 minutes from the point of the mountain in Utah. I love going paragliding when the weather's good. Because it's like 15 minutes away for me to go paragliding. Do I have any paragliding specific trips planned? No, I don't really have many trips planned. February is kind of my play month where I'm going to Salton Sea and then I'm going to Glamis and then I'm going to the Flying Circus. That's kind of my go play around month. And then I think July will also be my play month. But I will be busy all of March, April, May, and June. Are there more of these to come? Yeah, I'm going to plan to do this every other week, or not every other week, but every now and then. Maybe every other week. Maybe. If there's enough demand for it. You guys have a lot of questions, which I like. What do we have to do to get you to come to the East Coast? I just have to have time. Right? Sorry, the girlfriend's walking in. Great live feed. Hope to get out flying with you next year. Thanks for the hookup with the Scout. You bet, Ryan. You bet. I am always happy to help you guys. I don't know if you guys know, but I sell like all the things. And if you want something, I'm more than happy to help you. And I appreciate the business. Loads of useful information. Okay, guys, Last few questions. I'm getting the warning that I've gone over my time. What do you want from me? SEMA Power or Mojo 2? SEMA Power all the way. The Mojo is not a great wing to own. The Mojo is a great school wing, but it's not a great wing to own. Woman folk strike again. All right, guys. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm signing off. Last questions or I'm signing off. Is she going to pull a plug on the camera? No, she won't.
Yes, she will.
No, she won't. Merry Christmas. Great Q&A, and thanks. I'll try and do another one of these in early January. But if you guys have any questions about equipment, I'm always happy to answer your questions. I sell most all the things, so please reach out to me if you have any questions. I love to chat. Last questions, otherwise I'm saying bye. Saying bye. You're trying to get me off. All right. Okay, I'll see you guys later. I'll see ya later, alligator.